The following is a Podcast One Minnesota production.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
If it's made in Minnesota, who's making it and how?
Yeah, you got that right.
It's the Makers of Minnesota, focusing on the products and services uniquely made in Minnesota, and conversations with the makers, entrepreneurs, and innovators in Minnesota about how they conceived of their products and how they brought them to market. With Stephanie Hansen, it's the Makers of Minnesota.
Hello, this is Stephanie Hansen, and you're listening to The Makers of Minnesota, where we talk to cool people doing fun things in the state of Minnesota, whether it's making food products or clothing or apps or service applications. We are interested in all of the maker stories. So if you know of any makers, let us know. You can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram or on Twitter. And I love hearing new stories. So if you've got a brother-in-law that is too afraid to toot his own horn, make sure you let us know. And you can find our podcast where you find all your podcasts. So whether you find it through the My Talk 1071 website, which is where I have my radio show Weekly Dish on Saturdays from 9 to 11, where we also talk to makers on occasion, or whether you have it on Podcast One or Stitcher or iTunes, we are there for you. So today we are talking to Lauren Vanscoy from Essence One. And Essence One is a aroma therapy company that is trading in essential oils. And I am dying to hear your story because your website story is very compelling, Lauren. So tell me about sort of your journey about how you decided to start Essence One.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Oh, yes.
So I started Essence One. Well, I guess the inspiration that I had to start it came from an experience after my second child. I had about 4 to 6 months after I had her, I just started not feeling like myself. I had horrible anxiety, depression, especially social anxiety. It was very hard for me to formulate sentences or want to go out, and I'd commit to doing something and then would just feel more comfortable staying home.
Had that ever happened to you before?
No, never. So it was odd for me, and I didn't know what that meant.
Do you think it was postpartum related?
I don't know. I was on the lookout for that just because I had friends that had gone through that, and they kind of tell you what to look for. But mine was not as much depression as it was all of a sudden just horrible insecurity. Before I had never compared myself to other people. It was just, I was comfortable with who I was. And all of a sudden, especially on social media, which I think is the case for a lot of people anyway, it was just, I couldn't handle it. So, yeah. So
I'm assuming you're about 30 when this happens. Is that right?
30, what was I? Actually 36, 35.
Okay.
I don't even remember.
And were you had just had a baby, but were you like on maternity leave or were you working at another company?
Leave.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on maternity leave.
And what had you done prior to going on leave with the baby?
Well, I still work there now part-time, but it's a group travel company.
Okay.
So we plan tours for music groups and take them on tour to Europe or Hawaii or whatever. So,
all right. So
large groups of people I had to feel comfortable with when all of a sudden I wasn't even comfortable around 2 people. So it was very foreign.
Yeah, I not love this story because it's sad that it happened to you, but I am very intrigued by people that go through these experiences. How did you even know to articulate what was happening to you? And then B, how you have the wherewithal when that's happening to figure your way out.
I didn't at the time. Which it's kind of, why I do what I do now. So I didn't know what was going on. And I remember one day I would, talk to my husband about it and he was very supportive, but it was just kind of a funk, I didn't know. So that lasted a year at least before I was, I found myself on the ground, crying to my friends, having no idea why I wasn't happy to be with them. I had made myself go and hang out, even though, prior to that I had loved hanging out with people. So eventually I went to a counselor, and it took one session for her to essentially tell me, because I knew I shouldn't feel these things. I knew I shouldn't be comparing myself. I shouldn't feel insecure. I was comfortable with myself before all of this. And then she just said, what you have, because you're used to operating at such a high capacity anyway that it's major depression manifesting as anxiety. So, the first thing you talk through is medication and what you can do to help. I was interested in natural complementary ways to do things, but I didn't know very much at that point. So I did want to do medication right away because that was the fastest route.
Yeah, and you wanted to feel better, I'm imagining.
Yeah, and she thought that it would just take like a brain reset, kind of 6 months on this medicine for my brain to reset.
Did that work?
It worked. Before I gave it the 6 months, though, I started looking into the complementary things and options. Do
you mind if I ask what you were taking?
It was Celexa.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried one other type the first night, and I was up buzzing and freaking out and higher anxiety than ever. And I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done? So then I switched to Celexa, and it was fine. And that's a 6-week wait. So it's not immediate, but usually 6 weeks in, you feel better. And I did. I felt back to my old self. But in the meantime, I was looking at the natural path.
Yeah, because I hear like every person I know that has anxiety, depression in your story, and you take medication because you want to feel better. But for a lot of people, that's situational, and you don't want to be on medication for the rest of your life. So then where did you turn?
Well, I turned to aromatherapy first. Luckily, my OBGYN had just studied integrative medicine. So she was really excited. I always tell people, make sure you talk to your doctor before you...
Sure. And we're not doctors here.
Exactly, yeah. So I went and I showed her the oils and the different things that I was interested in using, and she was excited for me to try it and see. Yeah.
So I'm pretty familiar with essential oils. I love them. Yep. I think I found my way to them a couple of reasons. Mostly, I had been diagnosed with cancer, and I couldn't use deodorant anymore. So a company locally had made a roll-on oil. It was actually for men, but she was like, you should be using this. So I was, okay, fine. And then there was another pain relief oil that I used. And then I started huffing, and I call it huffing, but I started huffing peppermint.
Yep.
Sort of just like as a way to pick me up midday. Instead of having like a piece of chocolate at 3:00, I would huff some peppermint. So that was my experience. How did you learn about essential oils?
Well, a friend was using them and introduced me, and I dove right in because I've always been associated with scents, and experimenting. In the bathtub as a kid, we would always play with the travel soaps and conditioners and make potions, and that's kind of what it is. So I learned through a friend, and then that it was a particular company that educated us, and then I just thought, this has been so amazing for me. I would like to learn the science behind it. So that's why I went to aromatherapy school.
Where is the school? I didn't know they had one.
There's several. The one that I went to is online. It's called AromaHead.
Okay.
And it started in Florida, but then it became so big, she put it all online. And she's studied under Robert Tisserand, who's the big British aromatherapy. Yep. And anyway, so through that, I learned the science behind it. We had to take anatomy, physiology classes. I had to do tests, or what do they call them? Well, basically, people told me their scenarios, and I case studies.
Yeah,
that's the word. So people would tell me what their situation was, and I would make them their own blends to try to help them. And so we studied that and research papers. And
so Essence One has oils, teas, moisturizers, lip balms, deodorants.
Yes.
Are there do you have special oils that you use to combat anxiety or to aid with depression?
Yes. So a lot of the blends are assistance for anxiety and depression, and just basically balancing your life out.
Yeah.
Everything is all natural. And the reason I got into, I was teaching people how to make their own products, and then they started saying, can you just make them? I don't have time.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into Essence One. I do offer aromatherapy sessions for individuals, but then I also have the products that are all, 100% natural, only scented with essential oils or herbs. I'm studying herbs now as well. So it's a wide range.
You're doing this part-time with your day job?
I have my day job. Yeah. My boss is amazing and allows the flexibility for me to live my passion through Essence One. So that's part-time. Then I have kids, and I have continuing to study herbal medicine. I'm studying organic skincare and organic hair care, just to kind of keep building along on the line.
Yeah, because what people don't realize, I think, is that the skin is like a living organism. So you put things on your skin and they get absorbed and can react in certain ways,
Yes.
in a good way if you're dealing with natural products, but in a not so good way if you're not. When you are like putting a product together, are you just tinkering with different oils and then like seeing if they smell good or if they actually like impact someone's PMS symptoms? Like, give me more of a
Sure.
grassroots about how you actually go about
Sure.
doing it.
My favorite thing about Essence One is formulating. So I love to formulate new products.
Yep.
Now, lately, I've taken direction from what my customers are asking, but I study, and the reason that I am studying organic skincare now is because that's kind of the direction that people want me to go. So I have pure aromatherapy-based products. So I know people want help with abdominal issues, respiratory support, immune system, sleep. Sleep is huge. Calming is huge. So for that type of approach, it's mainly combining the different essential oils that have components that help those issues. So in blending my own essential oil blends, I'm looking at several oils that would help, let's say, a headache. If you have a headache, peppermint might be the best one for you and lavender might be the best one for me. So the reason we create blends is to combine the different oils to strengthen it, and then it makes it a little bit stronger, but also has more chance of being effective for 5 of us instead of just you.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's what I do there. And then for products, I figure out the different formulations for the actual product and add the essential oil blends later. There has been blends that people have attached to that they'll say, okay, now can you make this, when you make a lotion, I want it to smell like this. So I have different blends that I know are favorites that have kind of been carried through to different parts of my line.
You have a website, essence1.life. But do you also sell at like events or markets, or how are people finding you?
Yep. So everything's online, my website. And then I go around to different events, which I list on my website. I have maybe 10 wholesale accounts, and those are just companies that have found me at different events. I do everything myself, minus some help with labeling and making some things, but and then I have social media and photography help. But otherwise, I haven't had time to approach shops about wholesale accounts, so those have just kind of been accidental. They found me, and then I'm in the Mall of America RAS Market.
Yeah,
which is
tell me about that experience. Did they find you?
They did. It's the best experience for a maker, I think, because you get more exposure than you normally would, and you get to stay in one place versus carting all of our stuff around to all these different markets. So
and they did a market around Super Bowl time.
Yes.
Then they came back and they did an all women's market.
Yes. So it's all women right now, all women-owned businesses.
Do you have to work there?
Yes. So we have to staff it. However, we can share staffing. So I share with 3 other brands, and then between the 4 of us, we work out the schedule. We all have kids. We all have day jobs. So it's it's fun and exciting to be there. And then it makes life a little crazier, but it's all worth just being able to meet people. I think that's my favorite part.
I was going to ask you that. Did you know the people that you're collaborating with, and have you shared other like resources like photographers or social or whatever?
We do. The maker world is pretty small once you get into it, and everybody's willing to help each other out and support each other. So I did know some of the makers that are in RAS. I didn't necessarily know all the people that I share staff with, but everyone's willing to collaborate and help each other out. And
are the oils expensive?
Do you
have a lot of money in inventory?
Yes, I have to invest a lot. So even though I'm at the Mall of America, and I'll be at Rosedale in the fall in the new, it's called Rose and Loon. I have to invest in all of the ingredients up front and the containers, and
do they go bad?
Yes, they can. So I put a batch number on every product that I make, and then also an expiration date. So when you get into that natural world, things will definitely expire faster. Average shelf life is a year, but there's definitely some products that are 6 months.
So let's say, I come to you and I see you at one of these markets or one of these stores, and I'm having anxiety about I don't know, my life.
Mm-hmm.
Can I like see the bottle
Mm-hmm.
and go, wow, this can treat this?
Yeah.
Or do I need a consultation to have like more?
Sure. No, you can come. I can tell you what it can support. I can't tell you that it will treat anything.
Yeah.
Just because of the strict FDA
Sure,
regulations.
of course.
So
and
everything's
it may be
elusive.
a combination of things too,
Yes,
right? Maybe
yes.
you changed your diet and
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So there's always that, okay, this is one area of your life that you should concentrate on. And I always do stress getting rid of chemical products, period. That was like the first thing that I read about natural help for anxiety and depression or any kind of mental situation is that those chemicals are not good. They're getting to your brain. They're getting to your hormones, so that's the first easy step, I think. That was easiest for me. Of course, exercising. So there's all these different eating better, all these different parts that contribute to whatever you're going through. But yes, you can come to wherever I am, smell the products. I can make recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of products do multiple things. So
Yeah.
it's not just for this or just for that. It's multiple reasons.
How do you decide how to price one of your products?
I try to keep my prices lower. The thing that you learn eventually about being a maker is that if you want it to be sustainable, you do have to make money at it. I think we're quick to say, oh, I don't want someone to have to pay too much money.
Yeah.
But when you start looking at all the expenses you have to make sure that you're allowing for those expenses to be covered. So I take the cost of something, you have to add in all of your overhead, which is your expenses for the whole year, and divide by how many products you think you'll make that year. And it's math problems that I actually bought a program for. So
But you actually, it sounds like like if I buy a bottle of lip balm, let's just say, you know how much it's costing you to make that
Yes.
lip balm, it sounds like.
yes, you should.
What program did you buy?
It's called Price-O-Matic.
Okay.
It sounds very elementary.
That's all right.
But it's through a fellow maker, Layla Barker is her name, and she does a lot of beauty and spa products. That was kind of her first business, but now she's moved to advising entrepreneurs
Yep.
and makers. Which
It's stunning how many sit in the chair that you're in and they have no idea how much things cost.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had to learn because we're basically using our family money
Yep.
for this. So I'm not making money yet. They say it takes about 5 years. You're always constantly reinvesting the money. And I also am a give back company. So I do give a portion of all of the proceeds to a different mental health organization.
What made you decide to do that? Because it seems like a lot of the makers as of the last few years are give back companies.
It's what got me into it. I knew that finding aromatherapy and finding natural products was what helped me. Even if you don't believe that chemically essential oils will help you, the fact that you're taking a moment to just take a deep breath because you like how something smells is helping you. You know, our bodies, when we're stressed, we're tight, our muscles are tightened, and all we're trying to do is survive rather than taking that time to rest. And so aromatherapy can help slow you down and make you take that break. So I wanted to make sure that when I had all what was going on, I didn't know where to turn with anxiety and depression and who to talk to and what was going on. And I just feel like I didn't know, there weren't enough resources out there. So I want to draw attention to different organizations within Minnesota to start here, where people can turn for, if they are struggling with those kinds of things. So I choose a different organization every quarter. I might actually switch to every year now because I don't know if I'm making money till the end of the year. So.
Yeah, and it's probably maybe more impactful to have one singular message for a year.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that, and then I'm a partner with Susan G. Komen, Minnesota.
Sure.
And so I donate a portion of every deodorant that's purchased to them
that's
for
funny.
research.
Yeah, that's how I found. I'll have to check out your deodorant.
Okay. Yeah, it's a natural deodorant. It does work. But so those are why I do what I do. I think having a purpose in what you do makes you love doing something, and meeting people and talking through anxiety is something I want to do, because until I did that, I wasn't healing. I bottled it up. I hid it. I was ashamed. And you don't realize, probably with everything, once you start talking about it, you find so many people that are going through the same things.
And you can find community there too.
Yeah.
Can you think of how much money do you think it took you to start?
You start slow. So I started with 3 products. And then my line has just expanded from there.
And you just do charge it on credit cards and then?
Yes, I did. But then I made money right away, too.
Sure.
They say that once you've got something that you know people will buy, you should just go for it. You should sell it. You should start bringing that money in right away, or you are going to end up being at a loss quickly. So I would say I have liability insurance. I have, investing in the initial product, probably $5,000.
That's not too bad.
And I never want to say I missed an opportunity. So I probably could have started out lower and not done farmers markets and not bought the tent and all that. But I like to do it right away.
And you mentioned that you get help with social media. Can I pick at that just a little bit? Mm-hmm. How did you hire someone to help you? Did they do the posting? Or?
Yeah. I hired someone, a contract, actually the daughter of a friend, and she had some marketing experience with Target. She was a stay-at-home mom, and she was just looking for something to do, and she was good. And I find, too, they advise that you don't, I do a lot of the parts of the business, but you also waste a lot of time trying to do something if you're not good at it.
Right.
So that was something I invested in as quickly as I found someone, just because you're supposed to post once or twice daily, because not everybody sees what you're posting, and you want to stay connected and you want that interaction with people. And for me, it wasn't just, here's the products I'm selling. It was, hey, anxiety stinks. And, if you're having a hard day, take a deep breath. So it was kind of dual purpose.
Yeah, more of a lifestyle
encouraging
opportunity.
Yes, yeah. So I found her, and she was great.
And do you have a Twitter account?
I do. It feeds to Twitter. So Instagram feeds to Twitter.
So you're using it to repopulate and repurpose.
Yes. It's hard to do all of the platforms. I have a Facebook page too. So they all kind of feed each other right now.
And have you done any advertising with any of those mediums?
I have, yes. I've done the Facebook ads. And then that's probably the only social media advertising that I've paid for.
For you, did it feel like it worked? You picked an audience, you did a $20 spend, let's say, and
yes.
Were you managing that they clicked through, or that there were actual products purchased?
Yes. I think for me, it's hit or miss. It's ramped up a lot more, the response that I get, just as you gain followers and you get your name out there and you meet people, and people really do like to meet the maker. It's a phrase we use around here, but they do. And I think as a maker, I like to meet the people that I'm helping, because then you can see the impact that you have.
Yep.
So,
is there a local company that you admire, like someone that you've
There's
noticed?
a lot.
Do you want to give me a few shout outs?
Yeah, there's a lot of companies. One organization that I really think is important is called Girl Creative. Okay. And it's a all female but all welcome organization that encourages creative women to find their outlet, whether that's making something or, if they're an artist or a singer or whatever. But it's a good networking kind of supportive group of people. I don't want to name companies because I have so many and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But that's the best part about it, is you meet so many amazing people and everybody's helping each other. Even if I, run into another skincare or aromatherapy company, it's a very friendly feeling in Minneapolis. And I feel blessed to be here because it's so supported by customers and the creative makers.
What's next for you?
Next is I would love to continue to grow my line. However, there's one thing that I experienced as I was what I needed to do with this company culminated is I went to a retreat. It was a solitude retreat.
Uh-huh.
And they're not open anymore. Otherwise, I would be shouting it from the rooftops. But it was a 6-hour day where it's just you. They provide breakfast and lunch and kind of an idea of how you want to spend your day, which included like journaling, devotions, prayer. They had a labyrinth outside that you could walk, a park nearby, just all these ways that you could focus on yourself. No phones, no computers, just focusing on you. And you could sit there and cry for 6 hours if it felt good. You could journal. So I would love to somehow make that happen
as a business,
as a side part of the business. Yeah, I think it's important, and we don't take enough time. Obviously, using natural products and loving how it smells and all of that is great, but I think if you don't take time out of your life, stress is going to kill you some way. I mean, that's morbid, but I don't mean to be that.
It's true. Stress is the number one killer.
Yeah, and we don't realize that enough, and we don't tear ourselves away from screens. And, I'm just as guilty.
And we're so proud of our ability to multitask.
Yes.
When really we should be proud of our ability to check out.
Yes.
And to experience nature or our family or whatever it is you're into.
Yeah.
Because it is important.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting that you talk about solitude. And one of the things I read recently was how just going for a walk, stimulates all of this creative brain activity and allows you to smell or observe or just take in the world around you, and you can create big thoughts about things just by the sheer act of walking.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't do it.
No,
we don't do it
not
enough,
much.
I should say. Yes.
Not enough.
Now that the weather's nice, I think we're all out walking. But
yes, more.
Yes.
And that's kind of a challenge too, in the wintertime when it's dark, and maybe you challenge yourself next winter to take up a new hobby or to just get out, whether it's cross-country skiing or just going for walks. And I'm talking with Lauren Van Scoy, and it is Essence One, and you can find them at essence1.life. Congratulations on your company.
You.
How long have you been doing it?
We just turned 2 years old.
Okay,
yeah.
so you've 2 years in, it's turned on now.
Yes.
It's enough turned on that you can't probably turn it off
exactly.
easily.
I'd leave a lot of sad people.
Yes. I can't wait to try your products. It was really nice to meet you.
Thanks for being
on.